recording this webinar, and you just heard the notice. We will put the link to the RFP in the chat several times, and we will certainly be pausing to take questions towards the end of the RFP webinar. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Jennifer Applebaum. I'm the Managing Director of Workforce Development here at Mass CEC. I'm joined by my colleague Raya Väisänen and also two colleagues from HP who will get a chance to introduce themselves as they go through some of the material. We're coming together today to go over the material that's in our recently released RFP, in which we are seeking to procure solutions for a multi-purpose workforce development data platform. Raya, if you can go ahead and advance. We'll spend some time together going over a couple of things that we think are helpful to potential applicants. First and foremost, a quick introduction of Mass CEC and the work that we do within the workforce development team. And then we will turn it to folks to talk specifically about the work that's outlined in the RFP in terms of opportunity, both from a perspective of goals and key objectives into the types of scope of work and requirements that we anticipate. We'll also take time to go into some of the key components of application in terms of eligibility and process, and then save time at the end to address questions and answers. Raya, if you can go ahead and move forward, that'd be great. So some of you may be familiar with Mass CEC, but for those of you who are not, we are a quasi-public agency in Massachusetts. We sit under the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and we've been in operation for over a decade. We have four core focus areas that the agency really works on, including investment into the climate tech space, promoting innovation, working to scale, to provide pilots that can scale to decarbonization solutions, and then really navigating the onset of offshore wind in Massachusetts and the opportunity that sits there. The fourth focus area that is related to this is our workforce development team. And we really focus on working deeply to try and increase the pipeline and diversity of new workers coming into the space and also providing upskilling and business support opportunities. Right, if you can go forward, that'd be great. So we'll go through just very high level what we do, how we do it, why we do it. I already started to speak a little bit that in terms of the what, we're really interested in making sure that that we have a robust supply of workers and that's an inclusive supply. We know that a key to doing this is making sure that people are aware of the opportunities within the sectors and the spaces. And we define that awareness as being important all the way from youth to adult and different types of awareness across those stages. Within the process of all that, we're really mindful about training being high quality and being available to everyone in the Commonwealth that's interested. In terms of the how, we do this through a mix of strategies, some of which are more direct than others. We have some programs that we implement directly, but by and large, a lot of the work that we do is through grant making and funding. And with that grant making, we pair deep technical assistance. And then the final component of all of this is really being able to provide some broader coordination across the players. In terms of the how we do it, you have to think about that against sort of the context of our priority areas, which really speaks to sort of end user and participant priorities. So we have everything from programs that are serving students in the middle school space and up, all the way to new workers that are entering the space or getting upskilled, or businesses that are growing within the space. We can go ahead and move forward. This is a snapshot of why this is important, how the state sort of understands and positions this. At the top line, we're really looking at, as a state with really strong climate goals, those decarbonization activities require a robust workforce. And we know that there's a gap in terms of who we currently have within the workforce and the workforce that we need through 2030. That gap right now is on the order of in the mid 30,000 workers. Additionally, against that context, like all industries, the tight labor market makes it challenging for employers, but we find that in the clean energy sectors, employers are struggling even more so to find the workers that they need. Another key component within all this, and I've spoken about this a couple times, is that not just that we get workers in, but that those workers, that the opportunities to get new workers in be really mindfully inclusive and offer opportunities in places that maybe historically have not had as much chance to participate. So if we go forward, I think that we're including very quickly, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of these, some slides that are for your context, because in addition to the recording of this webinar, we'll also share the deck. So this breaks down our portfolio of focus areas in terms of going from students and young adults through new entrants upskilling and MWB support and smaller businesses. You can get a sense of the types of programs that we have. They're listed at the bottom and some of the outcomes that we anticipate through these programs. Hopefully, these details give you a sense of the range of needs that we have when we think about trying to bring in a solution. So I won't spend time on each of them. I'm going to pass the mic over so that we can get focused on the RFP details.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Carolina Rocchi, and together with David Pulaski, we are supporting MAS-CEC in developing the RFP and making sure that we are catching all the requirements and finding the best vendor for this project. You can find the RFP in the chat, but after the deck is distributed, you would be able to find it following the details on this slide as well. The main purpose is for this platform is to support a growing portfolio of workforce development initiatives and expand access to career and business opportunities in climate critical fields. And let's go to talk about the key level business objectives. Sorry. At a high level, this platform should enable MAS-CEC to achieve the following business objectives in partnership with grantees. We would like them to simplify grantee workflows, for example, matching candidates with training programs and job openings through modalities of engagement that include training, role matching, hiring, onboarding, and retention, automating the processes for verifying participant and employer program eligibility, facilitating ongoing communication between grantees and participants. We would like the portal to enable grantees to make data-driven decisions that support connecting more individuals with sustainable employment, for example, by surfacing data insights with the dashboards or understanding down to the individual participant level where the obstacle may exist. We would like the portal to provide the transparency for MAS-CEC and other external stakeholders into program impacts, for example, by the dashboards and informing potential participants to support their success within the program. We would like the portal to enhance the capacity of grantee organizations to execute on their mission by providing learning materials to grantees on effective program management strategies, facilitating knowledge sharing and collaboration across grantee organizations, and facilitating the submission of key deliverables. The portal should provide the public with program information, including the dashboard on program impacts, supporting information to help potential participants and employers decide on whether or not to participate, and also offering pathways to onboarding to new participants and employees. The concept evolves around the CRM style approach to track the progress and report key outcomes to MAS-CEC and stakeholders. Should serve as a hub for disseminating information to grantees, participants, and employers. Also support the sharing of learning materials through a learning management system like LMS, and ensure users receive relevant content curated by MAS-CEC based on their focus area and engagement modalities. These details can be found on pages 4 and 5. The program goals, the goal is to drive the growth of the clean energy sector across Massachusetts, creating jobs, delivering environmental benefits, and ensuring long-term economic growth. Central to this mission is the development of this platform designed to enhance the impact of the clean energy workforce development initiatives across the state. This platform focuses on 3 key programs. It's youth and young adult career development, which is helping young individuals start their careers in the clean energy sector. The second one is the adult new entrant and incumbent worker upskilling training by providing training and upskilling opportunities for adults entering or already in the clean energy workforce. and also a minority and woman-owned business enterprise support programming, which is supporting the growth and success of minority and woman-owned businesses within the clean energy industry. For example, among other things, this platform is to connect job and internship seekers with employers, ensuring participants are matched to suitable job openings and supported throughout their employment journey. This process should involve the several critical stages as validating participant eligibility, which should ensure participants meet the criteria for the program they're interested in, by guidance through job training milestones and providing structured training based on the target employment sector, by onboarding participants to appropriate positions, with collaborating with employers to place participants in suitable roles, and by promoting retention through ongoing support, by offering continuous support to ensure participants succeed and remain in their new roles. By focusing on these areas, the platform should not only streamline the process for grantees, but also significantly enhance the career prospects of job seekers in the clean energy sector, ultimately contributing to a robust and sustainable clean energy economy in Massachusetts. The key business objectives have been outlined in section 6 in scope of work, and more detailed functional and technical requirements to be defined with the selected primary vendor. And this RFP outlines key business objectives that are outlined in scope of work, section 6. It should include the expected automations for efficiency and risk reduction, data insights designed for various use cases, and simplicity of resources submission and consumption. We are also listing key user groups and diagrams with examples of user journeys to help visualize the concept and configuration of the portal for the vendor to be able to properly propose the solutions. We're also listing a current environment, which currently is supporting the intern portal, but the goal of this platform is to replace this existing portal and extend to the other 2 focus areas that currently operate without such a platform. You will also find a security requirements details, and the security requirements are based on the Massachusetts data protection standards, because the information collected are personally identifiable information. Data governance and retention needs. We have a need for ingesting legacy data from historic workflows. And also you will find a timeline. MassCC aims to select a primary vendor to develop the platform by September 30th, with a goal of launching on July 1st, 2025. But we would like to roll out the functionality to allow for some of the items to be available a little bit earlier, and that would be a conversation discussion with a vendor. The solution, thank you. For the solution vision, we would like to focus on the unified experience. The platform will support the unique workflows of each focus area, while leveraging shared functionalities to maximize efficiency, by creating a single platform for all activities and ensure a seamless user experience despite the diverse needs of different user groups. We would like to make an emphasis on usability. The platform should provide a clear and purpose-driven pathway for grantees, participants, and employers. Case management support for participants. Beyond a simple job board, the platform should offer a case management approach. Flexible data collection and reporting, as the platform should store data in a relational manner, enabling comprehensive and data-driven decision-making across all focus areas. We obviously need to focus on the security of the data, as the data and information is sensitive. We want to focus on the mobile-first development. The platform should prioritize mobile-friendly design, ensuring a consistent and user-friendly experience across mobile devices, desktop, laptops, and tablets. Knowledge sharing facility. This means that the platform will include a resource library for grantees offering learning materials tailored to their programs and needs, and it should recommend relevant content to users, enhancing their ability to deliver services effectively. Pathway to related services. The platform should connect users to other valuable services and resources within Massachusetts clean energy sector, and this integration will aim to drive adoption and reduce redundancy, provide a cohesive support system for small businesses and other entities. There is no prohibition against collaborating with other organizations, and one party should take on the role of leading the application team that will be called a primary vendor. For this RFP, there is no specific Massachusetts presence requirement, but it would be beneficial for applicants to show their ability to work within the states for periodic on-site visits to MassCEC. The general qualifications are mostly technical requirements. The RFP is open to all the vendors that could potentially execute the solutions. Let's go over the application packet, the timeline of the project, selection criteria, and the pricing. The application process starts with reading the RFP and the attachments to make sure that the requirements are understandable. For this informational webinar, we're hoping to gather some questions to address any possible details that may have not been, maybe are missing in the RFP, to make sure that all the information are available. All these questions could be then sent to MassCEC, where AHP would be helping with any technical questions, and then submit the proposals with attachments, adhering to the format requirements that will be outlined in the next slide. A completed application packet should contain both attachments, authorized applicant's signature and acceptance form, and also the sample agreement, proposal in Microsoft Word or PDF format, addressing all the elements outlined in section on how to apply. Cover letter signed by an individual authorized to bind the proposed entity, and of course, any voluntarily shared information provided by the applicant. We would like to highlight that the marketing brochures included as part of the main body of the bid response would not be considered, and such materials should be submitted only as attachments to the proposal. This is the timeline for the RFP, but the timeline is subject to change at MassCEC's discretion. For the questions due to MassCEC via email, we would be open to answering any questions after that date, after August 8th. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. For the selection criteria, everything is outlined in pages 21 and 22, but we have 5 main stages that would be the preliminary examination, where the proposal would be examined to determine whether it is complete, signed, and generally in order. It would be followed by the detailed technical evaluation, where the technical merits and features would be reviewed against the requirements identified in the program goals and description and scope of work of the RFP. We would like to include the customer-led product demos. While sale demos would suffice, candidates who are able to bring technical leads to the meeting to answer deeper questions about how the demos presented would be adjusted to meet the more specific needs articulated in this RFP, would likely be able to demonstrate more components of the scoring criteria. We would expect the vendor to provide references and details of two to four customer, including specific products in use, go live date, and services provided. Include contact information for the client's project manager or senior staff. After that, a contract would be awarded to a single proposal based on the evaluation of the RFP responses and the satisfactory outcome of the financial negotiations. And after the contract has been awarded, the unsuccessful vendors would be notified. Next step would be MAS-CC would enter into a general agreement with the selected primary vendor upon award. From there, MAS-CC with AHP support will conduct a detailed discovery with the primary vendor that scopes specific deliverables. And at that time, this vendor would be expected to price the deliverables. And I would like to open a session to any questions.
I'm happy to start. Thank you so much for this presentation. Super helpful to kind of get an overview of what you're imagining. So can you help me understand, for applicants that are coming into the platform, do you already have a database of applicants that are coming in? Or are you expecting the platform to be able to aggregate or connect to other applicant tracking systems?
Currently, we're receiving information via Word and PDF documents that are submitted via email, and we are using Excel sheets to track information. So for most of our grants, that's the way we're analyzing information right now. What we do have already is an internship portal where employers post open positions that they would like to hire students to fill for either a fall, spring, or summer term, and students upload resumes and search for positions they're interested in. So we do have an internship portal, which has some database functionality, but very limited.
Understood. And then is that portal connected to any like job boards or anything like that? Or is it independent and it stands on its own and a student has to go and look for that? They would have to know about the program in order to find it.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I can answer that. Let me ask one of my teammates to jump in.
So it's not currently connected to job boards beyond MAS-CC's own job board. So it isn't, if you're thinking about like, is it integrated with, you know, like an Indeed or a LinkedIn? It's not.
Exactly. Okay, understood. Thank you so much for that clarity. I appreciate it.
How do potential employers post their jobs today? I understand there's an internship portal, but is there a separate jobs portal where they also log in?
Yes. Janelle, do you want to share details on the distinction between the internship posting and the job portal?
Yeah. So the internship posting just has very specific details. There's also a job board, so the employer would also have created an account on the same portal, and instead of clicking this is the internship, they would click this is a job posting, and that's how you would post on the job boards.
This is Ray from Big Rail. Is there any restriction as to the cloud platform that the proposer should factor in? Is there any restriction as it relates to AWS or GCP or Azure?
So
There are no restrictions. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as it can meet the security standards that are outlined, there aren't specific restrictions as to which platforms or providers.
Thank you.
There's a question in the chat about how many employers will be using the platform and how many jobs will they be posting. We've had historically up to 600 employers, I believe. Is that correct, Janelle? Engage with it over 10 years?
Yeah, so right now I think we want as many employers as possible. Employers themselves usually have use their domain to get other employer employees in. So the employer has like theirs, and then they can validate other employees in their own place. In terms of jobs, are we talking jobs or internships? Internships, we post about 125 in the fall and spring session, and then 360 in the summer is the least. We hope to get more as we expand our capacity, and we're hoping to look for a platform solution that will allow us to do that. In terms of the job boards, we're always posting jobs, and some of them do have links to Indeed and stuff if the employer has put that in their job posting.
How many employees at CEC will need access to the platform? Our current team that would be using this primarily is about 13 or 14 individuals. I think we would probably have up to 20 generally needing to access it, from anywhere from frequently to just periodically.
Hi, this is Udichi from Bigrio. Thank you for the awesome presentation. Just had a question. Given the emphasis on the mobile first design, are there any specific use cases or scenarios, that must be supported on mobile on the mobile device versus the current applications that you guys are using?
So I think in terms of mobile usage, our end users, depending on the end user, it's a greater prioritization. So we certainly would want students or job seekers to be able to have that experience in terms of being mobile first. In terms of our own staff and administrative dashboards, that would be less of a priority, because we would anticipate that the complexity of that may make it less likely to be, easily used in that way. I would turn to the AHP team to add additional thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a good clarity, is that right? The administrative access doesn't have to work on a small phone, because there'll be a lot going on, but we do want external people to have that mobile experience.
Understood. Thank you.
So we've intentionally not provided a specific budget. We are really wanting applicants to focus on the value that they can provide given our requirements and what we're looking for. We have budgeted for this entire build out and ongoing sort of maintenance and upgrading, and sort of the sort of understanding that there will be ongoing licensing possibly and costs associated with that. I don't know if AHP wants to, so I'm not gonna, I would say that we have budgeted adequately, and we really want to focus on the value and don't want to see a limitation just based on whatever number we might provide. We want to see the best value of the application. David, I don't know if you want to say that differently.
No, yeah, that sounds great.
Follow-up question on that. Does that mean that if a proposal comes in that overshoots your budget, you would still consider that proposal depending on the value that it provides?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? I didn't hear the beginning of it.
So the follow-up question to that is, does that mean that if a proposal comes in that overshoots your budget, you would still consider that proposal depending on the value that the proposal provides?
Yeah, so we're not going to reject any proposals outright because of a non-public budget requirement. We have the ability to negotiate. What we would be doing is we could negotiate in contracting or over time if we had some limitation that it exceeded our budget for the initial stage. But we're not looking to not review proposals based solely on cost. Again, we're focused on the value of the applicant's proposal for the entirety of the solutions we're looking for.
Thank you.
So the question in the, hold on, there are a couple, hold on. Is there a desire for an integration with an external job posting platform? We do not have a specification on that, but we don't have a, I think we would, that's not been I don't think we would say no or yes to that specific question. I think we would consider it and be interested in learning more. So to be clear, you want support for the migration from the current platform, ongoing maintenance, and reporting. So there's just one platform, the internship portal, that we described where there would be a migration. All of the other solutions would pretty much be starting from scratch. We might be trying to upload data from Excel files into a new system. Ongoing maintenance and customization, we would expect, at least in the very near term, for there to be some of that. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by reporting. We have our own reporting we need to do. And so the reporting and sort of public facing dashboards, that should be something that that might be partly, making sure that functionality is going on in maintenance, but staff themselves will need to be able to pull the data they need based on ad hoc requests and other mandatory reporting requirements we have based on our funding. So that reporting is not related to what this vendor is expected to do. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's super helpful and gives more context. But I guess, like, ideally, if the world was a perfect world, you would want the reporting to align to your budgetary requirements that you have, right? It would be
Right. So the solution that we're looking for would have the ability to have some analysis of the data within the platform that could be publicly facing in things like charts and graphs. Not all of it, but some of it in aggregate form. It would also allow, from the back end, for staff to be able to analyze the data and pull extracts and do different analysis based on need. And for grantees to be able to look at the data they put in to the system and analyze how their programs are doing based on the data they input. So I think that's something that we hope is built in so that can be an ongoing function of the platform. Do you have any reporting tool already in place like Power BI, Tableau, which you want vendor to leverage in case of any reporting requirements? Our company does have some Tableau licenses, but we are not using them officially for any reporting at this time. How do you envision the learning materials to be integrated into the platform? For example, would you envision uploading videos? Yes. Folks can also feel free to, would each employer be contributing to the learning and development videos, or is the vendor no. This vendor, the vendor of the solution, is not expected to create the learning content. Our team itself, other grantees are creating the learning content. This vendor is solely responsible for creating the architecture and technology solution to securely hold these kinds of files in an organized way to allow for users to access them on demand. Authorized users. How are training and learning done currently? Can I ask you to clarify whether you mean training and learning on a data system, or how does the work we do?
So how do you conduct training currently, or how do students learn materials currently? Or do they do that?
We make, Mass CEC is, the workforce team is a grant making team largely, that, except for the internship program, which is a more direct sort of connection program. So we work with other organizations and partners of organization who develop training programs and recruit, enroll, work with training providers like community colleges or vocational technical schools who offer the training. And then there are other support services once an individual completes to help them become placed into employment and to then be retained over a period of time and successfully continue on their employment journey. So for the most part, we are not directly training people ourselves. We are working with grantees that are organizing that directly. And so in some cases, there may be grantees or partners that may need to access tools that we have collected for them so that they can do their work more effectively and efficiently. That would be the accessing of the learning management system materials. But I also encourage anyone, Edward or Janelle, to fill in on that.
I will just add that for the internship program, there is a subset of our interns who are receiving career readiness workshops virtually through a training provider. But again, that was a RFP that went out last year. And so that is the other way we're providing, Mass CEC is providing direct training to folk.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Could vendors offer to provide training content as part of our proposal if we felt well positioned to offer that? We're looking for proposals that include the ability to train our staff on the solution so that we can use it well. We expect that we will have staff who will have to help work with our grantees eventually for them to understand how to use the data platform. I think in the early stages, I think we set out in the RFP to articulate in the early stages, we'll need some of this vendor to provide that training directly until we are able to do it ourselves for our grantees.
I would like to add, just because I read that question a little differently, that we also put out different RFPs, which are professional service RFPs. With Nels would probably be if you're thinking of training content for the interns or other folk as well.
Thanks, Janelle. That's a good point.
Just another one, I was just thinking, beyond the industry data protection standards, are there any additional requirements, that you envision that the platform must meet? And followed by, are there any specific data governance policies or, disaster recovery plans that are expected to be implemented for this platform?
I would only add here that there may be instances where data need to be shared across the state government agencies in a secure manner. So that would mean that data needs to be exported or linked securely. So that would be probably something that would have to be considered.
And there was a link too in the RFP to the mass data protection standards that we need to follow. But again, like as we stated before, that there's PAI, we want to make sure that you give a detailed explanation of how the data are going to be secured, and your backup or retention policies and all the boilerplate of how to make sure that these PII data stay within our system.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there any requirements around data that should be provided? Sorry, documents that should be provided to you at the completion of the project? Documents such as the testing plans, architectural designs, code, and things like that.
So I'm going to try to answer some of this, and I'll pass it to AHP for their fill out. So we are going to, I think in the RFP expect there to be some sort of user guide so that that would support the ongoing training of our own staff on how to use this tool. And we expect that a fair amount of the work to use it, and in some limited capacity to customize it to meet our needs on an ad hoc basis, is part of this. But we also recognize that there may be limitations to that we'll need the vendor to make certain upgrades or changes. I would say code would not be something that our team would expect to use. But I think enough artifacts about the building of the system that it could be maintained over time.
Yeah, and I think also any documentation as we go through the process about UAT or acceptance testing would be helpful to be provided, and we would probably be filling them out as well. And of course, any of the data in the system itself, not necessarily the code, but is for Mass CEC to retain.
Thanks, David. There's a question, are we open to rolling out the software in phases? Yes, we specifically asked that while we have a goal of a July 1st, 2025 launch, that ideally there is a plan that some of the functionality is available sooner than that for us to take advantage of and use. We do not specify that. That's for an applicant to suggest. Would we like to see a demo during the interview? Yes, we expect that something like that would be part of the interview process. Given the target go live date of, I think it's July, but July 25, what is the current workflow that Mass CEC is going to be going through during that time frame? So do you mean from where we are could you unmute and clarify the time frame? I'm sorry.
Yeah, happy to. I know it's a little confusing, but it kind of goes in alignment with like what feature is the most important one. So like, tell me about your workflow and what does that look like internally between that, I guess, July to maybe September timeframe, so that we can align like what's the top feature that would be most important given the timeframe of the launch.
So we are, as we're an entity, Mass EC is a quasi-public state agency. We work along a state fiscal year that is a July 1st to June 30th timeframe. Typically during the summer, we have completed our funding opportunities, and we are in a mode of awarding new grantees and getting ready for sort of a new round of programming with our grantees. That said, during that time frame for the internship program is a little bit different. So I'll let Janelle speak to what the summer looks like for that, looking into the fall.
So for the internship program, June is when our summer session would have ended. July would be where we would launch. For our summer session, also what would come online would be our technical trades work and learning, and that would be in August of that year. So for us, it would look like if you made that the priority, we would be doing a lot of migration of that database, a lot of PDFs being uploaded, a lot of figuring out where things go. I would say we would probably have sandbox, I don't know the right term, a lot of this in May and April, because there are some places where this falls down, and we would have to probably be looking at how to get employers to understand what the new system looks like, as well as the interns. So I think for us, if the internship was your priority, there would just be a lot of things happening between July and August, just because that is when we're opening up for our fall session. And I'll put the link in the chat, so if people want to take a look around that, they can.
Thanks, Janelle. Edward, do you have anything to add about our seasons?
I would just say that July, August tends to be heavy contracting season, which means a lot of orientation for new organizations that do the training, which means we would probably be setting up a lot of their reporting streams and preparing them to interface with the data portal at that stage. And that tends to always, those reports tend to always be occurring. So there's not really a cadence where things will slow down and speed up.
Yeah, thank you, Edward. Janelle just entered into the chat the link to our current internship portal. There's a question: is there a need for participants to be able to apply for services via the platform, or will participants receive credentials after they are being served as a grantee? So we are, for internships, yes, there would be students who would be submitting information to participate in the internship program directly through the platform. For our other grant programs, I think we would probably talk through this workflow in more detail. You can see in the RFP, and I think I'll let my colleagues from AHP remind me of the pages, the user journeys that can help you understand better for our other programs how we work with our grantees to enroll participants in their training programs.
Yes, the user journey starts on page 12.
Thank you, Carolina. Caroline, just put another link to the RFP in the chat. I will also put a link to the website where we will be updating Q&A over the next several weeks. As we said, we updated the date that we'll accept Q&A through to August 2nd. And we will post all the Q&A we've received to that point by August 8th. On our website, we have, you can find links to our program pages that have examples of our grantees. I will put in the chat a few of them, so you can get a sense of who they are, but you can also find these by searching on our website generally. So I just put in for our equity training program, for our MWBE support program, and for our planning and capacity, planning and capacity program. These are not fully up to date. We're in the process of updating with additional grantees that have been added over the past 6 months. But these are good examples.
Hi, this may have been stated earlier, and I may have missed it, so apologies if so. Is there in terms of a phase go live, is there a preference for whether the grantee portion is a higher priority to go live first, or the employer portion?
We have not stated a priority. And so we would leave it up to the applicant to suggest what makes the most sense and would be the most efficient rollout of functionality.
Okay, great. Thank you.
As you heard, we have a lot of different timelines, so there isn't necessarily a perfect, there's a trade-off depending on which, like the timing of any of them. So I think that's up to the applicant to suggest what makes sense. See. Yes, thank you all for joining. We will put a recording of this on our website, so you'll be able to find that along where the link to register for this webinar was. We'll also post the slide deck that was used today, so you can refer to that. And again, I will put in the chat the email address that we will accept questions at. This is also linked throughout the RFP and on the cover, but you can address questions to the RFP workforce@masscec.com email address, and we will post answers to those questions in sort of a cadence, not daily, but as quickly as we can. Just a few more minutes in case anyone has any last thoughts or questions. We'll also post the questions that have come in today through this webinar. We'll also add those to the Q&A portion of the RFP page. We really appreciate everyone's interest and look forward to seeing some exciting proposals. So we answered earlier that we have not posted a budget for this intentionally because we are focused on the value that an applicant would be able to offer and provide. We have budgeted for the build out of this platform and for ongoing sort of future ongoing maintenance and customization and licensing, et cetera, that might be necessary. We really are focused on the value proposed in the application. So we are not interested in sort of limiting ourselves artificially through the posting of a budget. Though we understand that makes it challenging. What type of resources support are expected from the agency to be involved in this project? So we will have assigned staff time. I will be heavily involved in working with the vendor, and we will bring in our staff experts as needed to help, especially in the discovery phase, et cetera. But we are, you know, we are not committing any technology resources or technology staff. We outsource, Mass EC outsources its technology support currently to an outside vendor. I'm not sure whether that will be ongoing, but at this stage, we don't have, we are not allocating any of that kind of staff to this project. It'll be workforce team staff. Does that answer your question?
It does answer my question, and I appreciate the response. I think if I follow on that one, should we include project management, training, or change management, or other sort of resource required for those sort of services? Are those going to be part of the scope of this work or not?
In the RFP, and I think we said a little bit earlier too, we are expecting for the vendor to provide some training support on, guides and tools for users in the early stages and rollout of this, so that staff can be trained and so that staff can also support grantees and other users on an ongoing basis. We expect that we'll need the vendor to do some of this training in the early phase as we're all getting up to speed and learning. But we are not expecting that to be a long-term need of the vendor or applicant, or at least on a limited basis. We think the ongoing support will be more around maintenance and customization that we won't be able to do ourselves as we use the tools. All right, we've got to time. Thank you, everybody. Again, we will post this on our website, and we will also email out the links to the website. Thanks so much.